Hello everyone, this is Sam Bellier over at Scorpio Rising Astrology, and we have a major astrological event this week, so it's time for a video to explain it. We're going to be going over the Jupiter square Uranus and Mars conjunction, figure out what that means, and explain why that's significant as the US undergoes its inauguration, and we have multiple government agencies across the world toppling their power structures. Let me give you the exact time frames as I look at my notes, which will also be posted in the description for the video. So these squares happen between Taurus and Aquarius, two fixed signs ruled by Taurus, Earth, and Aquarius, air. Now, what's significant about this pairing is Taurus is about what's grounded and what's comfortable. Aquarius is about what's new and inspiring. Both are fixed, both are stubborn, and the planets in conflict here are just going to create massive friction through what's known as a square formation planetarily, which is basically an aspect between planets that promotes friction. Because the aspects are happening between two fixed signs, this also means that all fixed signs should be particularly careful this week, which includes the signs of Scorpio, fixed water, and Leo, fixed fire. It's going to be a bumpy road, and those are the signs that are going to be hit the hardest because those are the modes in which the signs are going to be squared. Now, this all starts January 19th of 2021 as we move into 3:40 p.m. when the sun changes signs from Capricorn to Aquarius. Happy birthday to all of my Aquarius people over the next month. However, this is a very rough start to your birthday month. And that's part of the reason why this square formation is so intense, because we have four different planets, including the sun, as part of the Aquarius end of this square, which leads us to look at major power shifts in what Aquarius represents as being the sign of the rebel, the sign of revolution, and the sign of breaking through norms. Wednesday, January 20th, we have the brunt of our issues astrologically. 1:56 p.m. on Wednesday, the moon in Taurus is what starts to light up our festivities. So the moon is our celestial emissary. Where she goes, we feel it. The moon is also the planet that represents our heart and our emotions. Now, why is it significant that the moon goes into Taurus right as all of this is about to go down? Well, that means that our heart space is literally moving right into the heart of the square. We are aligning with this conflict so purely that very few people are going to be able to escape without feeling it. And this also means that very few people will be able to process this as it happens. So we're not going to be able to just shrug it off. It's going to be a worldwide phenomenon because the moon itself, as opposed to it being in a sign that's not aspecting or not in the center of these transits, the moon's front and center, which means we will be front and center and will not be able to look away. Now, the big formation is going to be the Mars-Uranus conjunction, which I've lovingly named the powder keg. On 3:19 p.m. on Wednesday, we have Mars conjoining Uranus, Mars as the fiery planet of action, and Uranus as the planet of unpredictability, upheaval, and natural disasters, which can be thought of as the lightning planet. Fire and lightning don't necessarily create peace and happiness and love and rainbows. Instead, they create the powder keg. The idea of everything is very hypercharged, very super flammable, and extremely combustible at this time. At 4 p.m. on Wednesday, the moon will start the first of her 4 squares, which will kind of ignite the powder keg throughout this whole transition. We have 4 p.m. where the moon squares the sun, and then the moon will square Saturn in Aquarius at 9:58 p.m. So the afternoon on Wednesday is when we're really going to start to feel it. Everything's going to start to get super psychically charged with a large amount of intensity, and we need to be very aware that patience, compassion, understanding, and a understanding first and foremost that this is happening to everyone, regardless of where you're at in the world. This is going to be a worldwide feeling of tension that we need to be aware of at this time. On Thursday, January 21st, we have at 5:13 a.m. the moon in Taurus squaring Jupiter in Aquarius, which is square number 3. And then on Friday, the 22nd of January 2021, we have at 8:57 a.m. the moon in Taurus squaring Mercury in Aquarius. Now, this whole situation will begin to wrap up as we move into very, very early Saturday morning. All of these times in Eastern Standard Time, by the way. 2:05 a.m. Mars in Taurus will square Jupiter in Aquarius, which is the big finale, the big fireworks show, as Mars, the planet of action, makes a square to Jupiter, the repressed planet who's trying to expand but is still being overlorded by Saturn. And this is going to be the major kind of straw that breaks the camel's back as these transits move forward. And finally, at 2:43 a.m., the moon moves into Gemini, which will release the moon's psychic ties to these astrological formations, and we'll be able to process and release and move through things as they kind of ground into our psyche and into our body. These transits are not just metaphysical, by the way, they are also physical. Taurus being the sign that rules the thyroid, the ligaments, our metabolism, and also our neck space, as well as Aquarius ruling the peripheral nerves, our calves, and our skin. Those are going to be the two body systems that are in conflict. So if symptoms arise during this 3-day window that are extremely unpredicted, very out of the norm for you, it is important to take them seriously, but understand that they may have a very strong astrological influence, and they may not necessarily be part of your normal symptomology. Now, this may also be a trigger point for a lot of people. If you haven't been dealing with your stuff, if you've been putting off physical change, if your body is ready to revolt, this is going to be the time that it will do so. So please be careful, increase your preventative maintenance, and if you would like to learn a little bit more about what these transits mean for you specifically, I would highly suggest that you look at your own natal chart, which you can find by Googling free natal chart online, going to one of the many websites that has a free natal chart calculator, plugging in your birth date, place, and exact birth time. It must be the exact birth time. And then looking at your Taurus house and your Aquarius house. If you don't know what those glyphs look like, Google those as well. The internet is an amazing place full of information like that. So do a little bit of your own research, but understanding where your Taurus house is and where your Aquarius house is and the meaning of those two houses in astrology will give you a basic underpinning overview of what this transit means for you. But on a global scale, like I said, we have many governments that are toppling right now, switching power structures, and we are truly embodying the idea of the rebel Aquarius and forming a new foundation via the grounded stability of Taurus. It is an uprooting time. It is a time of massive change, and we need to respect that, but also understand that the stars are influencing and pulling a lot of our emotions out of control during this period. So ride the wave as best you can, and if you have any questions, feel free to use the comment section of this video to let me know. Follow my daily posts for exact transits on Facebook and Instagram, and we will get through this together, I promise.